The supermarket was bustling with activity that day, a whirlwind of hurried footsteps, rattling carts, and the hum of conversations blending into a chaotic symphony. At the end of a checkout line that seemed to stretch forever, an elderly woman stood quietly. She clutched her modest basket of groceries, a loaf of bread, a carton of milk, and a small packet of tea. To most, she might have seemed invisible, just another figure in the crowd. But there was a fragility in her posture, a slight tremble in her hands, that told a deeper story. As the line crept forward, she glanced nervously at the young cashier. The woman was moving with robotic efficiency, scanning items at lightning speed, her expression distant and mechanical. The elderly woman hesitated. She adjusted the strap of her worn-out purse and shifted her weight from one foot to the other, as though she was bracing herself for something. When her turn finally came, the contrast between her and the previous customers was stark. Unlike the hurried shoppers before her, she moved deliberately, carefully placing her items on the counter. The cashier barely looked up, mumbling the total without an ounce of warmth. The elderly woman opened her purse and began counting coins, her hands trembling. The clinking of metal on metal seemed unusually loud amidst the murmurs of impatience from the line behind her. "She's holding everyone up," someone muttered, loud enough to be heard. Another voice chimed in, louder this time, "Seriously, can't she be faster?" The elderly woman's cheeks flushed as she fumbled with her change, her anxiety mounting with each passing second. Suddenly, a coin slipped from her grasp, bouncing off the counter and rolling onto the floor. She froze for a moment, her face a mix of embarrassment and despair. Then, slowly, she bent down to pick it up. It was at this moment that a man stepped forward. He was in his 30s, wearing a simple jacket and carrying a small basket of his own. He hadn't been particularly noticeable before, but now, all eyes turned to him. "Excuse me," he said, his voice calm but firm, cutting through the murmurs like a blade. "Can we all stop for a second and think about what we're doing here?" The line went silent. The man crouched down, retrieving the coin before the elderly woman could. He handed it back to her with a kind smile. "Take your time," he said gently, his voice full of understanding. Then, turning to the cashier, he reached into his wallet and pulled out a few bills. "Here, let me cover the rest." The elderly woman's eyes welled up with tears. She tried to protest, her voice barely audible. "I can't let you do that," she whispered. The man shook his head, still smiling. "It's not a problem at all. You've probably spent your whole life giving to others. Let someone give back to you for once." The transaction was completed, but the man wasn't done. He turned to address the crowd, his tone carrying both compassion and conviction. "Kindness doesn't cost anything," he began. "We're all so busy rushing through our lives that we forget to stop and care for the people around us. This woman could be anyone's mother, anyone's grandmother. How would you want her to be treated?" There was a noticeable shift in the atmosphere. People who had been muttering complaints moments ago now avoided his gaze, their faces flushed with guilt. One woman in the line spoke up softly, "You're right. I'm sorry." Others nodded in agreement, their earlier impatience replaced by a sense of introspection. The elderly woman, now clutching her bag of groceries, turned to the man. Her voice, though trembling, carried profound gratitude. "Thank you," she said. "You've reminded me that there's still good in this world." As she walked out of the store, her posture was different, straighter, prouder. But the story didn't end there. The man's actions sparked something in the crowd. Conversations broke out, people sharing stories of kindness they had witnessed or experienced. The cashier, who had been silently observing, seemed to soften as well. She slowed down her pace slightly, smiling more at the next customers in line. Later that evening, the story made its way onto social media. A bystander had recorded the man's act of kindness and posted it with the caption, "One person can make a difference." The post went viral, inspiring thousands of comments from people all over the world. Strangers shared how the video had moved them to perform their own acts of kindness. This single moment, seemingly small and fleeting, became a powerful reminder of the impact we can all have on one another. It showed that even in the busiest, most indifferent places, compassion can create ripples that extend far beyond what we can see. So, let this be a challenge to all of us: the next time you see someone struggling, pause for a moment. Whether it's lending a hand, offering a kind word, or simply showing patience, you have the power to make someone's day a little brighter. And who knows? That small act of kindness might inspire others to do the same. If this story touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the subscribe button now to join our community of people spreading positivity and making the world a better place. Tap the like button. It's a simple action, but it helps us reach more people with stories like this. And we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever witnessed or experienced an act of kindness that changed your perspective? Share your story in the comments below. It could inspire someone else to make a difference. Finally, don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. Let's create a ripple effect of compassion together. Subscribe now, like, comment, and share. Because together, we can make kindness go viral.